first thing is you want to consider why register a business. Why do I actually need to register a business? Now, one of the first key things is scaling, impact, and growth. Get registered to tap into opportunities. Unless you keep playing small. Applying for loans and grants mostly demand that you register your business. Attracting investors from both private sector and the government. You have better opportunities of accessing investment and access to investors with a registered business. And some of the private equity investors include, we have African Capital Alliance, Synergy Capital, Verod Capital. I mean, some of these investors demand that your business is actually registered. Succession, your business carries on after you being a proprietor or a company. Brand building, the reputation and perception of your business. Opening a corporate business certificates. These are just a few key things. One of the few key advantages to registering a business. You might want to think that, do I actually need to register my business? Why do I need to? I mean, these are just a few key things. Now, the business entities under CAMA. Now, on the 7th of August 2020, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria signed the Companies and Allied Matters Act 2020 into law. 2020 CAMA envisages just 5 modes of registration. That's the business name, the company, incorporated trustee, limited partnership, and limited liability partnership. Now, what is the effect of non-registration as carrying on a business when you're carrying on a business? The effect is that it's actually an offense under the CAMA section 863 of CAMA stipulates that it's an offense to do a business in a registrable business structure or framework without formally registered. So, and then it provides that there is a 200 naira fine for every day with which the default continues. However, we need to note that there are actually some businesses that need not be registered. And these businesses are, for instance, when you carry on business in your personal name, that is your first name or your surname. For instance, Alabi, Adegoke, and Chinedu, then of course you don't need to register a business in that instance. But when you start adding co and partners, then of course you need to register, or you want to use a name other than your first name or your surnames. We also need to take note of some prohibited names and restricted names. Restricted names include any business that contains the word federal, national, regional. You require the consent of the CAC. Prohibited name actually contain Chamber of Commerce or a company that is already in existence. They are trying to use the name that's already in existence. Then it's prohibited. It's prohibited. So now, what are the business vehicles under CAMA? One of the business vehicles that for SMEs, rather for SMEs, now we just consider 4, which we think is applicable and we've seen being used over the years. Number 1 is a business name. A business name, you want to, I think someone actually drew on my screen. Yes, sorry. I believe when you're sharing your screen in this sense, 1 minute, let me share my screen. Sorry, let me stop the sharing and share it. Someone drew on my screen. Just a minute. Okay. So business vehicles for SMEs, a business name, a company, private company limited by guarantee, private company limited by shares, private and limited company, limited partnership, and limited liability partnership. So these are the major 4 structures or vehicles that are applicable to SMEs. When you talk about public companies, then you are going big. Then we've left the range of SMEs. So business name, what is a business name? A business name means that the name, you are carrying out a business under the name and style of a particular name. So it's majorly a sole proprietorship or partnership. Previously, business name is usually a sole proprietorship, but now under the new CAMA, you have the option of registering a business name, two or three people registering a business name. Now, the effect of business name is that the business name does not enjoy legal personality. That is, for instance, if the business is going to be sued, the proprietor is actually going to be sued, carrying on business under the name and style of so and so. So you don't enjoy the liability of the proprietor or the partners in the business name is not limited. So that's one of the distinguishing factors of registering a business name. Now, some of the registration requirements, of course, you need to get a service, or you can actually register a business name by yourself. But of course, if you're willing, you get the service of an accredited agent with the CAC to carry on the registration for you. So you need your preferred name, an alternative name after you reserve for reservation. After this has been confirmed, you continue on with this registration. You need your address of the business owner, the full name of the proprietor, the date of birth of the proprietor, citizenship, contact information, and so on and so forth. Passport photograph, means of identification, the local government of the business, and local government of the business owner. Some of these registration requirements. Now, let's move on to company. Majorly, we are going to be looking at the private company limited by shares. Now, a company is a business arrangement which enjoys legal personality. It is a corporate body and separate from its members, that is the owners. The liability of the members of the company may be limited by share or guarantee. The company may be private or public. Now, we are looking at private company limited by shares. Now, what are the features, some of the features of company registration under CAMA 2020? Now, number one is one or more shareholders can form a small company limited by shares. That is, a company is small if the turnover is less than 25 million and it has no foreigner or government corporation as shareholder. That is, now you have one director that can register a company under the new CAMA, and then, of course, with limited. So removal of the requirement of annual general meetings and company secretaries for small companies. You know, it's no longer compulsory that you have a secretary, that is a small company as a secretary, but it's advisable to always have a secretary, such as a legal practitioner, when registering your company. Reduction of minimum share capital. Usually it's before, under the old CAMA, is authorized share capital, but now, you know, it has been reduced. We have just minimum share capital, and it's 100,000. You can have 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, you know, but the higher the share capital, the higher the registration fees, and I mean, the higher the stamp duty fees, which you pay, you know, when registering. So certain businesses have industry-specific share capital. So when you're talking about banks, which requires 25 billion share capital, and a number of other industries like that, which we won't be going into. What are the information required? Of course, you need your company names, you need your type of company, an LGA, details of the directors, details of the shareholders, passport photographs, and then the payment. So some of the information required. Now, after the company is registered, you need to take note whether indeed you require some licenses after registration, such as the special control unit for money laundering certificates. Now, if you're a dealer in jewelry, you deal in cars, luxury goods, you're a firm of chartered accountants, it's required that you get an SCUML certificate, you know, in order for the authority to monitor whether you are using the business for money laundering or not. Of course, yeah, you get your TIN, tax registration identification number, for the purpose of tax filings, certificate of capital importation if required, immigration approvals. You need to know whether, of course, you require some immigration approvals, such as your expatriate quota, your CPAC card, and so on and so forth. NOTAB, National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, and any other licenses required. Now, structuring, of course, directors are usually the first shareholders. The number of shareholders cannot be more than 50. Directors are on equal footing apart from employees. You need to identify the board of directors and partners. You can structure your company into chairperson, an MD, CEO, executive director. The chairperson chairs the meeting of the company, and so on and so forth. Shareholders agreements. If you want to bring in new shareholders into the company, then you might look at signing a shareholders agreement with some of the new partners that you are bringing in. And then private equity. People are looking to invest in the company also. It's always advisable to enter into a shareholders agreement so that you know the profit sharing and how much each person. That's that about people. So let's look at partnership. Inter-partnership is one of the new structure of business registration. And then a limited partnership, you have at least a general partner and a limited partner. So the liability of the general partner are unlimited, while the liabilities of the limited partner are limited to the debts and obligations of the partnership. Their liability is limited to their contribution to the capital or property of the association. So an LP shall not consist of more than 20 persons. So limited partners only invest, which type of business structure, business ventures are good for a limited partnership. We have startups, venture capitals, private equity funds, and professional services. Of course, it's advisable to enter into a limited partnership agreement, investing and founders agreement as the case may be. So, limited partners only invest and do not make operational decisions or bear any personal liability for company's debts. Limited partners can be called the mind behind the scene. They are not seen. They are hired through their investment in the formation of the business. They pump in the money and take a share of the profit at the end of the year, or depending on the agreement on the time of profit sharing. But the general partners are the ones that own and operate the business. They bear all legal liability for their management decisions. So what are the requirements for registration of limited partnership under the CAMA? First step, of course, reservation of name. The partnership agreement, you have to enter into a partnership agreement which spells out the responsibilities of the partners. The agreement will contain the profits and how it will be divided among the partners. The name of the limited partnership to be registered, the name shall be signed and authenticated by the partners. General nature of the business, location of the business and address, full name of the general partner, full name of the full address of the general partner, passport photograph, date of commencement, and so on. So that's about limited partnership. And then the last one is limited liability partnership. The limited liability partnership, the partnership agreement with legal personality separate from the partners. Now, the distinction between a limited partnership and a limited liability partnership is the fact that a limited partnership is not separate, does not have a legal personality, is not separate from the partners, but a limited liability partnership is separate from the partners. So the liabilities of the partners of an LLP are limited to the amount agreed to be contributed, or what is outstanding in the event of winding up in the amount agreed to be contributed to the partnership by each partner. So an LLP must have at least 2 designated partners who shall be responsible for compliance with the requirements of the Act by the LLP. There's no maximum number of designated partnerships. So of course, you enter into an LLP agreement which contains capital, profits, loss sharing, indemnity, management, admission of new partners, decision-making, record keeping, accounting, and so on and so forth. Requirements for registration: the name of limited liability partnerships, the proposed business of the limited liability partnership, the address and registered office of the limited liability partnership, name and address of persons who are to be designated partners, and other information concerning the proposed limited liability partnership as the Commission may prescribe. So, distinguishing limited LLP from an LP. An LLP is a body corporate and has separate legal personality. A limited partnership is not a body corporate. Also, all the partners of an LLP may take part in its management and have powers to bind the partnership. Meanwhile, in a limited partnership, just the general partner can take part in management decision. The limited partners cannot take part in the management of the business. So majorly, that is what we need to start up with to see before we go into the other aspects.